Hello there. This hour on Verbling, the next in my, what are we doing? Pronunciation practice class. We're going to be working on voice intonation, part 3. Specifically, finding out or making sure, changing your voice to express those ideas. We're going to start in just a second. First, a quick word about me. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. Here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up, which means turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom quiet. Tune in to the new words you're learning when you are speaking so I can correct you. And finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. And that is a little bit about me. So we're going to get started in just a minute. I'll get my camera on so that I can see you and you can see me. Let's say a quick hello to, who do we have here? We've got Igor and Elisa. Nice to have you both here. I'm going to give you a link to the material in just a second. I put the notes there, but you might not see the link, so I'll post it for you again in the chat window right now. There you go. Okay. Can everyone see the link in the chat window?
I can.
Yeah? Okay. Elisa, can you open that
Yes.
as well? Okay, good. So you can download that, or you can just open it up. And I'm going to try to share my screen using my special trick, because when I share my browser it seems to crash the computer, so I won't do that anymore. But I got a little trick. I'm going to just share it by printing screen and putting it in Microsoft Paint for now. Later, I'll get a new computer or whatever the problem is. So just give me a second to get the material open. It's going to take just a minute.
Reinstall your OS.
Say again?
Reinstall your OS, it may work.
I don't think it's that. I think...
Or maybe it's your slow internet connection, but low, really slow.
It's not the internet connection at all, because I keep pinging the line. The internet connection's really fine. Not great, but it's good enough. It's the computer. I used another computer. It worked great, but the Hangout was pretty heavy, and the fan was too loud. Anyway, it'll be fixed soon enough. Give me just a minute here. Almost open. All right. So as we do this, what are we going to do? I need to just get my material open on the screen as well. Give me just a second. Almost there. One moment. And I'll get this open. Well, I'll tell you what. While I'm waiting for my documents to... Hey, look, we got someone else. I didn't even see you come in. Who is that? Shafar, that's who it is. Ah, okay, very good. Okay, well, while we're waiting for this to open, I'm just going to explain a few concepts before we do anything else. Another thing I'd like to do today is to hear you actually do some of those monologues that I have posted there, see what we can apply to the actual monologue, and not just deal with explanations the whole class. Give me just a second. See if this is open now. Nope, not yet. Wow. All right, well, it'll be there in a minute. So let me see if I can just get started without the material. 1 second. One moment. One second. Okay, here we go. Got it. Do I have the right place? Yes. No, yes. Yes, here we go. Okay, it looks like everything is open now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste the exercises directly into the document. You'll see where we are in a minute, and then I'll try to share them on my screen as well. So, finding out or making sure. In the last couple of classes, we've talked about intonation. We've seen two kinds of rising intonation. One is a smooth rising when we ask a question. Did he do it? Your voice just goes up. Another kind is rising falling. Usually you're not asking a question. You're signaling that you want to give more information.
Hello? Is the teacher not there for all of you? Or is it just me?
Hello.
Hello?
Hi, Ego. What's the problem?
I don't know. I think the teacher has some connection problems.
I just back. I'm from the toilet actually.
Hello?
Welcome
Hello.
back. Hi.
Okay, you can hear me all right now? Yes?
Yes.
All right. Okay, don't know what's going on, but Igor, I was asking if you could read those two examples of falling tones, and keep in mind that the first thing we're doing is trying to find out information. Can I hear you read those? Let's hear how it sounds.
And where do I find them?
On page 10 of your notes.
Okay, let me
Go to page 10.
just scroll down.
Yeah.
Voice intonation part 2? Or what? I'm on page 10
No,
now.
no, no. Part 3. Class 25, voice intonation part 3.
Okay. What part of Spain were you in? How much are they?
Okay. Say the first one again.
What part of Spain were you in?
What part of Spain were you in? Were you in?
What part of Spain were you in?
Yeah. It sounds almost like one word. What part of Spain were you in? Okay, not bad. The WH questions, like what, when, where, how, those kind of questions, are often used to find out information, but they're not always used. It doesn't matter if they're used or not. They still end with a falling tone. So, let me see. What part of Spain? So you could also say, oh, you're in the south of Spain, maybe, just as an example if you took it off. But let's take a look at making sure. That's a little bit different. By the way, if you stop hearing me at any point, just tell me, okay? Or write in the chat window. Okay?
Who's
Okay,
reading?
teacher.
So if there's any problems with the sound, just write me a message or something in case I don't hear you, okay?
Okay. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, I think we fixed the problem though. I think it's okay now. So let me give you a second example. Elisa, the second example is about making
Yeah.
sure, and you'll see it on page 10 as well. Right underneath the falling tones, you'll see making sure, and you've got, let's see if it works. You've got, whoops, there we go. Now I can see it. Okay, you've got a rising tone, you've got a falling and then rising, and then you've got, it repeats again. Can you see it on page 10?
Yes. Yes. Was Baron there? Or
Was
Baron?
was Brian there?
Was Brian there?
Good.
Or was Brian there?
Was, yeah. The second one is a little bit strange. Let's see what they mean. Was Brian there? Was Brian there? So I don't know if you can hear the difference. Let me read them one after the other. Was Brian there? Question on there. Was Brian there? It's the first one. Was Brian there? Was Brian there? So you're finding out in the second one. Was Brian there? Was Brian there? Brian there? So they're trying to say that you stress Brian, and it kind of goes down. Was Brian there? Do you see the difference?
A little bit. It's very difficult. Was Brian there?
A little bit more emphasis on Brian.
Was Brian there?
Yeah. Was Brian there? Brian there? So it's a little bit lower than there.
Was Brian there?
Yeah, that sounds okay. So in the first case, you don't know the answer. Oh, was Brian there? I can't believe it. I didn't know that. The second one, you know that he was there, or you thought that he was there, but you're making sure. So let's see if we can come up with a better example here. Shafar, can you read the second example? And let's see if you can distinguish, see if you can not distinguish, but see if you can make the rising tone different for the question. It's just a smooth rising tone than it is for the second part where you're making sure. See if you can change
How
your
much
voice a
are
little
they?
bit.
How much are they?
Uh, which one are you reading? Which says doesn't she? Do you see it?
Oh, okay. Doesn't she work with you?
Good. So that's the question. Okay, Shafar, keep going.
What do you? Where's it? Doesn't she work with you? I think it's the last.
Okay, so I need to hear them both because I need to hear them both. I want to hear the question first and then making sure second. Remember, you're going to put emphasis on the word, probably, I guess it would be the word work. So
Okay.
let me hear you say it one more time, back to back.
Mm, doesn't she work with you? Doesn't she work with you?
They sound exactly the same. Hang on a second.
Okay.
Let's see if we can try to make them sound a little different. Let me try. So here we would say, doesn't she work with you? Kind of goes smoothly up. Doesn't she work with you? The second one, doesn't she work? Doesn't she work with you? Yeah, you know what? So I'm having a little trouble. I'm having trouble making it sound different as well. So maybe it's not the best example. But don't worry about that. Let me see if I can find a little better example here. Doesn't she work with you? Doesn't she work with you? I think the problem is this. You know what? It's a bad example because it's in the negative. If I said it in the positive, does she work with you? That's really a clear question. But if I say in the negative, I want confirmation. Like I could say, she works with you, doesn't she? Right? I could also say, doesn't she work with you? So I'm putting the stress on the word work. So actually, to make it sound more clear, the first sentence should probably be does, because it's asking for information. So let's try it that way. We're going to say, does she work with you? Smooth rising tone. Second, doesn't she work with you? Doesn't she work with you? Work goes down, with you goes up when you're trying to get confirmation. Okay, does that make more sense? Maybe it's clear if we put it like that. Does that sound a little bit clearer, Shafar?
Yeah. Oh yes. Okay. Is that right?
Okay, so repeat after me. Repeat after me. Does she work
Okay.
with you?
Does she work with you? I am a bad.
And the second one, doesn't she work with you?
Doesn't she work with you? Uh,
Okay, that sounds pretty good. It's not bad at all. Very good. Also, here's another point. Yes and no questions are often used to make sure, to confirm information. They often, but not always, end with a rising or a falling rising tone. Um, like just like I was saying with the question tags. She works with you, doesn't she? That's clearly confirming, but we don't have to use the question tag. So we fall on work and we rise on with you. Doesn't she work with you? Right? So you just want confirmation when your voice sounds like that. What else did I want to say here? No, that's not important. Okay, next point. When we're trying to make sure of something, in making sure questions, we can usually use a falling, rising tone like we just did, or a simple rising tone with a difference in meaning. But a falling, rising tone sounds a little bit more polite than a rising tone. In particular, a falling rising tone is usually preferred in questions asked for social reasons, that is, mainly to be polite rather than to check information. So here's an example of that. Uh, underneath making sure, whoops, I have to put this on my document, then I'll take a picture and put it on screen. Okay, so I'm going to put polite tone. Okay, so we're back to you, Igor. Take a look at the polite tone. Let me just when this, I have a little delay in my connection has a little bit of a delay.
Okay.
But I'll put it on screen in just a second.
I see it in the document, so I can read it right now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, just give me 1 second here, 1 second. Because I have to copy and paste, and then, okay, you should be able to see it on screen as well now.
Do you want to take your coat off? Are you sure you can manage that?
Well, it sounds like you're asking a question for information. Do you want to take your coat off? But imagine that you don't want to ask for information. You just want to politely offer them the opportunity.
Okay.
So what word would you stress? Well, where's your falling tone in do you want to take your coat off?
Do you want to
Where do you
take
think it
your
is?
coat off? Do you want to take your coat off?
Okay.
Do you want
So
to
the
take
stress is on coat. Is that it? The stress is on.
the stress is on what? Coat? Sorry, I don't hear you.
I'm asking you. Where is the stress? Where is the falling tone? On which word?
Well, I think on. I don't know.
All right. Well, I guess I would say it like this. I wouldn't put it on want because the emphasis is not on whether you want to. Do you want to take your coat off? Well, wait. I can say it like that. I could say it like that if I say it slowly. Yeah. Do you want to take your coat off? Do you want to take your coat off? Do you want to take your coat off? I could put it on, I guess, either of those words in capital, the stress words. I guess I could put it on either, actually. So yeah, it would work both ways. My voice is a little different, but they both work. Do you want to take your coat off? Now the problem there, the reason I'm a little hesitant to say want, is because if you're not careful, you're going to sound sarcastic. Do you want to take your coat off? It sounds like you don't know what you want. So you have to be a little careful. But if you put it on coat, it could also sound good. Do you want to take your coat off?
Do you want to take your coat off?
Yeah, got to go down a little lower on coat.
Do you want to take your coat off?
Coat off?
Do you want to take your coat off?
No. Coat off, down, up. Do you want to take your coat off?
Do you want to take your coat off?
Okay, good, but don't forget, go down on coat. Low. Do you want to take your coat off?
Do you want to take your coat off? Do you want to take your coat off?
No, you're giving me a flat tone. So listen to me. Say this. Do you want to take your coat? Do it like you're singing.
Do you want to take your coat off?
Good. But now you're going to add the off. Now you have to add the off going up. So, do you want to take your coat off? You have to sing a little bit.
Do you want
to take your coat off? Do you want to take your coat off?
Do you want to take your coat off?
That was it. That time you got it. Yeah. Elisa, can you try the second sentence? Same thing. I would put the stress on the word manage if I were you.
Are you sure you can manage that?
Sounds good. Are you sure you can manage that? Are you sure you can manage that? That's another way you could say it. So both ways work for me, but what you said sounded very good. Okay, I think you've got the general idea. So what we're going to do is see if we can do a few exercises. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to say. I might just look at my notes. No, let's not worry about it. Let's go right to a few exercises. So what I'm going to do is give you a few sentences. I'll call these, you'll see this, oh, sorry, wrong place. Okay, I don't know if they'll be on 10 or 11, but I'm going to copy and paste them right now. And when I get it pasted, I'll take a screenshot and put it on screen as well. Okay, so I want you to listen to the first 2 or 3 and decide what the speaking is finding out, which means a falling tone, or making sure with a rising tone. And then you tell me which is which. Then I'll give you a chance to say the rest. Okay? After that, we're going to try a little dialogue together where you've got to use falling or rising tones. And when you do that, the meaning will be very different from one to the other. And then finally, I've got a few questions which you're going to read on your own. Okay? So, do I have it there yet? Let's see if it appeared. Okay, it looks like it went to page 11. So you can go to page 11, or give me just a second. I'll take a screenshot, and I'll try to get it on screen for you. 1 second, please. Okay, you should see it on your screen now. If not, it'll be there in a moment. So let me do the example for you while I'm waiting for that to appear. The example is this. Who are they playing next week? So if you're finding out, you have a falling tone. Who are they playing? Who are they playing next week? Who are they playing next week? So you can see that I'm going down on the word week. Who are they playing next? Making sure. Who are they playing next week? Oh, that sounds like more like a question. Who are they playing next week? There we go. So making sure I can fall on next and I can rise on week. Who are they playing next week? I'm putting the emphasis on when they're playing. Let me see if I can. Whoops. Sorry, give me just a second because I need to go back to my notes for a second here. Sorry, on my computer, I have notes spread everywhere. I have to go to page 172. I have to go to my notes to see which is which. Otherwise, I'm going to give you the wrong answers. Okay, here we go. So I got everything set up. So you're going to listen. We're going to go around the room. You're going to tell me whether you think it's a rising or falling tone. In other words, tell me if it's making sure, rising, or finding out. Okay? So, Shafar, here's number 1. Listen and tell me if it's making sure or finding out. Were the police involved? Were the police involved?
Making sure.
Making sure, because it's a rising tone. In other words, maybe that you want to confirm something that you either didn't believe or you already knew. Were the police involved? So there you already knew it. You're just confirming. Were the police involved? You can't believe it. You're making sure. In number 2, I think we're back to Igor. Are you feeling okay now? That's a bad example. Hold on. Hold on a second. Are you feeling okay now? That's it. Okay. Are you feeling okay now?
It looks like we want to find out if he's okay.
You want to find out. So it's a falling tone. Are you feeling okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. In number 3, Elisa, don't we turn left here? Don't we turn left here?
You want to make sure?
Making sure. I had to rise on here. Okay, Elisa, you're going to do number 4 as a finding out sentence. So read it for the group.
Why didn't you phone me earlier? Why
Well,
didn't you
wait,
phone me earlier?
yeah. Why didn't you phone me earlier? Why didn't you phone me earlier?
Why
You
didn't
see
you
what I'm
phone
saying?
me earlier? Yeah. Why did you phone me earlier?
That's it. So in that sentence, in that word earlier, how many syllables do you have in the word earlier?
2,
Are you sure? Earlier.
3.
3. Which syllable falls? The first,
A
the
second.
second, or the third?
Second.
Yeah, it starts to fall on the second, and it falls more on the third. So earlier, earlier. So let's try it again. Why didn't you phone me earlier?
Why did you phone me earlier?
Perfect. That's it. Okay, and Shafar, number 5, you're going to do that as a finding out sentence. So same rule, the one I just told Elisa, same rule applies here.
Why didn't you phone me earlier?
No. Number 5. Number 5. Number 5.
Oh, no, okay, sorry. Have you discussed it with your parents yet?
Oh, but that's a question. I don't want a question. I want you to find out information with a falling tone. Falling.
Have you discussed it with your parents?
Yet. Low. Low on
Yes.
yet.
Okay.
So look,
I just make it long.
you've got 3 syllables there. Parents, which is 2, yet, which is the third. Just like the word earlier. High, low, low. Earlier. Parents yet. Same thing. High, low, low. Parents yet. Have you discussed it with your parents? Have you discussed it with your parents yet? That sounds too rising. Give me a second. Parents yet. Have you discussed it with your parents yet? Parents yet. It's going to sound more like that if you're finding out information.
Have you discussed it with your parents yet?
Parents yet. Have you discussed it with
Parents
your
yet?
parents yet? Have you discussed it with your parents yet?
Have you discussed it with your parents yet?
No, but you're still asking a question. You're still rising on yet. So try it like this. Have you discussed it with your high parents yet? Low. Make it simpler. Hi, have you discussed it with your parents yet? Try it like
Okay.
that.
Have you discussed it with your parents yet? Parents yet?
You're still rising on the yet, Shafar. It still sounds like you're
Uh,
asking a question. Forget about asking a question. Forget about questions.
okay. Have you discussed it with your parents yet?
Okay, it's better, but it's very flat still. Very flat. So
Okay.
listen to me one more time. Have you discussed it with your parents yet? Have you discussed it with your parents yet? Parents yet? Very
Okay.
low?
Mm, let me try. Have you discussed it with your parents yet?
Uh, we'll come back to that one. I think the problem is you're not going high enough on have you discussed it. It's really going to be high. Have you discussed it up here? Have you discussed it with your parents yet? Low. Have you discussed it with your parents yet? So you really got to go higher on the first part. Okay, but we'll give you another chance. We'll come back to it. So, Elisa, what about number 6? You decide whether it's finding out or making sure, and then we'll tell you which we think it is. Okay?
I'm reading.
Lisa?
Yeah, I'm here. How do you get the top off?
Oh, can everyone hear me?
Yeah. Yes. Hi.
Okay, good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to try number 6. You decide whether it's finding out or making sure, and we will tell you what we think it is based on how you say it.
How do you get the top off?
One more time.
How do you get the top off?
How do you get the top off? Not of, but off.
Off. How do you get the top off?
Okay. And Igor, what does that sound like to you? Making sure or finding out?
That sounds like a question to me.
Does sound like a question.
Yeah.
So it's closer to making sure because it rises.
Yeah.
Okay, it's closer to making sure because it rises. The problem is these are all questions, but we have a different function here. It's not just asking for information. Basic questions ask for information, like, how are you? I'm fine. Here, we're not really asking for information. We're confirming something. How'd you get the top off? How'd you get the top off? The stress has to be on top, on the word top.
Okay.
So Lisa, try it one more time with the stress only on the word top and then rising on off.
How do you get the how do you how do you get the top off?
Okay, it's better. How do you get the top off?
How
What
do
if
you get the top off?
yeah, what if you fall on the word top? You go down a little bit and then you rise on the word off. How do you get the top off? How do you get the top off?
How do you get the
How do you get
top
the top
off?
off? Okay, good. And just don't forget, you've got to make you've got to really stress the f sound in off. Because if you say it too fast, it sounds like of. Of should be spelled O-V, V like very. But it isn't. It's spelled O-F. But the pronunciation is V like very. Off is clearly an F sound. Off, like friendly or fun. So that's the only thing I would change. Just make sure that you've got a strong F. How'd you get the top off? How'd you get the top off?
Can I try?
Go for it.
How do you get the top off?
Much better.
Ah,
That's it. It's much better. It's good. Okay, Igor, you're going to try 7, and you decide whether it's making sure or finding out, and we'll tell you what we think it is.
Did I see you in town on Saturday?
Shafar, what do you think?
Me?
Yeah, what do you think?
Think of it is not making so not like question.
Sorry, it's a little hard to hear you, Shafar. Igor, why don't you say it one more time for him? Okay? Shafar, listen to Igor. One more time, Igor.
Did I see you in town on Saturday?
It look like making so yes. Okay.
Do you agree, Igor? Was it a making sure?
Yeah, making sure if it was you. Yes.
Okay. But to me, it sounded like it was a falling tone, not a rising tone.
Well, I tried a fallen tone, yeah.
Okay, but if it's a falling tone, it's finding out.
Well,
Didn't I see you?
I still don't understand this concept, making sure, finding out. Still sounds like a question to me, to both of them.
It's true. It's true. They are questions, but they have different questions with a different purpose.
Yeah.
So the difference is this: rising, making sure, being polite, politely making sure.
Making sure.
Falling, finding out. Falling is finding out. So let's see if we can give an example here. The question, did I see you in town on Saturday? If you're making sure, did I see you in town? Did I see you in town on Saturday? Did I see you in town on Saturday? In town on Saturday? I kind of fall on town and rise on Saturday. Did I see you in town on Saturday? Now I'm finding out. If I find out, I have to just fall. Did I did I see you in town on Saturday? I'm finding out if you were in town. Did I see you in town on Saturday? So that's supposed to be the difference.
That's readable, really. I still don't understand it.
Well, here's what I can do. I can give you some recordings to listen to because maybe it's a little bit harder if we try it on our own. But if you listen to it enough, it should be clear. I can't do it in the class, but I can do it as a homework. I can give you some recordings. Hang on just a second here. Sorry about that. So what I can do is post the recordings, give you a link to them, and then you can listen to these examples with the native speakers reading them in different accents, because I have a recording of all of this. But let's try one more thing. We're going to try a little dialogue, and also it might be a little bit easier if we've got more information. So in a dialogue, we've got more information, we've got a context, okay? So that could make things a little bit more clear. Give me just a second. I'm going to copy and paste the exercise for you. One second. Okay, here we go. All right, so underneath polite tones, no, not that, sorry. On page 11, you have those examples, and the next exercise is underneath that on page 11. As soon as it's there, I will copy and paste it for you into the into Paint. Oh, looks like it's actually going to be on. I can't see it. Hold on. There it is. Yeah, it's on the bottom of page 11. Okay, so let me print screen, paste, go down. Okay, and now you should. So I'll read the directions and then we're going to try this and see if we can make it sound fairly natural. Joe and Olivia are going on holiday in the morning, but Joe is excited and can't sleep. Do you think Joe's questions are likely to have a rising tone? Well, it says put a rising tone in the box, but we can't do that. So, well, I can try. I don't know if I'm able to do that in Paint. We'll see. Or does it have a falling tone? Let's do this. Let's divide this in half. Okay, so we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're going to divide that in half. And Elisa and Igor, you're going to start in the first part, and then Igor and Shafar, you're going to finish. So I'll try to get both of you reading. So let's hear the first 5 sentences there. Elisa, so it says, Joe and Olivia. Oh, you know what? Hang on a second, we have a problem. Sorry. I forgot. You don't have the transcript in front of you, do you? My fault, my fault. Give me a second here. One moment. Give me 1 second here. I've got to go back. One moment, one moment, one moment. Oh, you know what? I think the problem here, I just realized, is that I don't have the transcript. I just have the answers. Oh, that is a problem. I can't play the recording in the Hangout, unfortunately. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. All right, so here's what I'll do. We'll do that as a homework. I'll give that to you. I'll post the recordings for you. All right, so forget about that. What we're going to try to do is apply this to a monologue, because I've got all these great monologues, but really no one's been using them. The idea was, whatever we learn in class, you try to apply it to one of the monologues, and you can go to YouTube and you can listen to the original and practice along with it. So it gives you a bit of help. Everything we're learning is really to help you analyze the monologue. So to actually practice it, you have to just go and do it. Listen and repeat. Let's see if we can pick one that we haven't worked on yet. So if you give me a second. So I'm going to put, well, let's do this. We've got 3 people, and we've got monologues in most of the classes. What I'd like to have you do is to work on one, but I'd like all of you to pick a different one, to be honest with you. I'd like to hear different ones from all of you. So let's do it like this. Maybe we have time to practice one in class right now, but then I'm going to ask you to work on one on your own, and you can either send it to me by recording your voice, or in the beginning of the next class, we can hear your monologues. I have a time slot tomorrow, which we could do another pronunciation class if you like. The time slot would be a little bit later in the day, though, but that's a possibility. Okay, give me just a second, and I'm going to paste one monologue here for you. I'm going to put it underneath that exercise. It's going to appear on page 12. Sorry for the delay here. It's taking me a second. Okay. So this is the monologue that we did before, but I think it's good for, I mean, we had this in a class, but as none of you have really practiced it, it might be a good one, and it's got a few questions. So it says on page 12, it says, Charlotte, sorry, this is from Lost in Translation. Charlotte, who is played by Scarlett Johansson, asks Bob, who is played by Bill Murray, for advice. Let me get this on screen for you as well. Give me a second here. Okay, you should be able to see that at the top of your screen. So let me see if we have questions here. The only question here is from Charlotte. She's got 2 questions. So you could try what we're doing with Charlotte's line, but then you could continue with Bob's line. In fact, let me get this all in one place together. Okay? So let's see if we can try to have it like this. Elisa, maybe you could do Charlotte's line. Okay? Igor, you try to do Bob's, and then we're going to switch, and we're going to have Shafar in there as Bob and Igor as Charlotte, and we might have time to switch one more time. Okay? So, Elisa, which do you think you're going to be using? Falling, rising, or some other combination for Charlotte's questions? What do you think is going to be better?
The first is rising.
Yeah?
What about marriage? And the second is both. That she get easier.
Okay. So in the second one, in the first one, she's asking about information, so it's a rising tone.
Yeah.
But in the second one, she's not asking about information. She's asking a rhetorical question, right?
Yes. The first is easier. What about marriage?
Okay,
That's
good. But marriage has to start lower. What about what about marriage?
what
So it's got
about
to marriage
marriage?
has to start a little.
Okay.
Yeah,
What about marriage? The second one is it's only easier, but I don't know.
you got to go down on get.
Yeah.
Does it?
Does
Does
she
it get? Does it get easier?
does she
Well,
get
actually,
easier?
let's if we go back to the if we go back to the if we go back to the logic of making sure or finding out, then we remember that finding out is actually a falling tone, right? If we're finding out information. So if we think about it like that, easier should be a falling tone, not a rising tone. Does that get easier? Does that get easier? Easier actually goes down instead of up.
Does she get easier? Does she
She?
get easier? No,
She? What do you say?
no, no. I was thinking about easier and does that get easier?
No, no. There you go. That's perfect.
Does
That's
the
perfect. Okay, so let's try it for real. Charlotte will be played by Elisa. Bob will be played by Igor the first time. And I'll give you some feedback at the end of your little speech there. Igor, I know you're reading it for the first time. You don't have time to prepare. But just do the best you can. Okay?
Okay. What about marriage? Does that get easier?
That's hard. We used to have a lot of fun. She would have come with me when I would make the movies, and we would laugh about it all. Now she doesn't want to leave the kids, and she doesn't need me to be there. The kids miss me, but they're fine. It gets a whole lot more complicated when you have kids. The most terrifying day of your life is the day the first one is born. Your life, as you know it, is gone, never to return, but they learn how to walk, and they learn how to talk, and you want to be with them, and they turn out to be the most delightful people you will ever meet in your life. Eh?
Okay.
I think I finished. Hello,
Hi.
the lecture is gone or what?
Sorry about that. No, my microphone was off. Sorry. Um, I was saying, what happened to Shafar? I was just about to give him a shot, and he disappeared. Come back, Shafar. Okay, it's not bad. It's not bad. Um, uh, Let me just ask a question. Whether you saw the movie or not, you can probably understand the context. So, Igor, what do you think the relationship is between these two people?
I think they're friends.
Okay. Are they friends at work, or are they intimate, close friends?
My second one.
The second one, intimate, close friends. Okay, I agree. So that means that Bob's little monologue, in addition to all the pronunciation stuff we've learned in intonation, it also has to sound intimate. So, in fact, in the movie, they're actually lying in bed together. It's about as intimate as you can get. So it doesn't. They don't have a physical relationship. But I'm saying if they're not in bed, they're on the floor. I can't remember, but they're lying close together. So it's an intimate scene. So some things. If I were looking at this, I would probably say things like, let's see, that's hard. So, for example, hard is a falling tone. If I wanted to make it easier, I'd print this page out and I'd actually draw on the text itself just to make my life a little bit easier. For here, I'm going to mark up the text like this. That's hard, falling tone. Can you see the little red arrow that I just put there? I
Yeah.
mean the red line? Yeah, okay. So that's hard. We used to have a lot of fun. We used to have a lot of fun. So here, a lot of fun is rising first, and then it's a little bit hard to do this on my computer, but and then falling. I would say it like that. We used to have a lot of fun. It's a slightly rising falling. By the way, you don't have to say it exactly like me. I'm just saying this is what I would do. If I listened to it, I've listened to this many times. I would probably mark up the text something like this to show where the rising and falling tones are. That's hard, falling tone. We used to have a lot of fun, rising, falling. She would come home with me when I would make the movies. She would come home with me when I would make the movies, and we would laugh about it all. So that's a falling tone. So here I put a little falling tone. Now, now she doesn't want to leave the kids. Now she doesn't want to leave the kids. For me, that's actually a rising tone on kids. It's not a question, but it goes up. She doesn't want to leave the kids because I'm signaling there's more to come. So it's rising to signal more to come. And she doesn't need me to be there. She doesn't need me to be there. To be there. So here, be is kind of emphasized, and then afterwards, there is a falling tone. The kids miss me, but they're fine. But they're rising, fine, falling. And falling is really a strong falling tone, like really kind of, because it's really a final point. Oh my God! I just looked at the time. Listen, I have to begin the next class right now. I just saw the time. To make your lives easier, I'm going to post this as a homework. You can listen to the recordings, and perhaps you could try this monologue on your own. Don't forget, there's a link to YouTube so that you can hear the original. Okay? Sorry, I've got to stop the class right now, or I won't get the next one started on time, so I'm going to run. But check your messages, and I'll send you this as a homework. Okay? So, bye for now, and I'll send you the homework very soon. Bye for now, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.